Let's talk about the 5 biggest childhood traps that might be, secretly wrecking your adult life, your success, your relationships, even your happiness. And look, these aren't character flaws. They're just old survival patterns running on autopilot. So let me just ask you this straight up. Do you ever find yourself in a really big moment, maybe a tough conversation at work or a fight with your partner, and your reaction just feels way out of proportion? Almost like a little kid version of you just grabbed the steering wheel? And that's exactly what we're getting into here. I mean, on the outside, we've got it all together. We have the jobs, the families, all the responsibilities. But then in those really key moments, we snap back to these old coping mechanisms. We're not reacting as the capable adults we actually are, but as the kids we used to be. Kids who just didn't know how to handle all that pain. So the source material for this explainer really boils this all down to 5 main patterns. Now, on the surface, they all look pretty different, but they have one thing in common. They keep us stuck in the past, and they absolutely rob us of our power right now in the present. There are 5 of these core patterns, and each one is just a different strategy our younger selves came up with to try and feel safe. So here they are: the victim, the invisible, the good girl or good boy, the rebel, and the rescuer. Now, just recognizing which one you tend to fall into, that's the first step to changing everything. So as we go through these, just kind of notice if any of them feel a little familiar. All right, we're going to start with the big one, the most foundational pattern of all, the victim. But more importantly, we're going to contrast it with its empowered opposite, what the source material calls the creator, or the centered adult. This is what we're aiming for. So the victim mindset, it's this state of total internal helplessness. It's that feeling deep in your gut that life is just too much, that the world is stacked against you, and things are always unfair. It's that little voice inside that's always saying, I can't, or it's not fair, or, why does this always happen to me? This slide just lays out the difference so perfectly. Look, on the left, you've got the victim. That's the child position who feels like life is happening to them. They're just waiting for a rescue, hoping someone else will come along and fix their problems. But on the right, you have the creator, the adult position. They operate from a totally different place. I am responding to life. Wow, that is such a huge shift from focusing on how powerless you are to focusing on the choices you have. And this is the crucial point right here. The way the victim mindset destroys your life is quiet. It's slow. It's not some big explosion. It's more like a slow fade. By refusing to own your power to choose how you respond, you just slowly snuff out your own potential. Your energy disappears, your belief in yourself just shrivels up, and you stop creating any kind of forward momentum in your own life. Okay, so let's jump into the next 4 reactions and see how this all connects. Because while the victim is all about feeling powerless, these next ones are all different strategies that inner child uses to try and feel safe, and they all come with a really heavy price tag. First up, we have the invisible. This pattern is born in places where being seen was actually dangerous. If as a kid you got shamed or criticized for speaking your mind or standing out, your brain logged a really important memo. Being visible is not safe. The core belief just becomes better not to be seen. So you don't take up space. You don't ask for the promotion. You don't share what you really think in a meeting. On the outside, people might think you're just modest or shy. But on the inside, you're living in a cage made of fear. And the cost of that is massive. I mean, when you don't show up, the world can't see the real you. Opportunities just sail right by. Relationships stay on the surface, and you end up living a life that is so much smaller than what you're actually capable of. This centered adult, on the other hand, chooses to be authentic and visible, to show up and take their rightful place. Next is a pattern that society, well, it often rewards it. It's the good girl or the good boy, sometimes called the pleaser. This is the kid who learned that love isn't free, it's conditional. You get it by being perfect, by being easy, by squashing your own needs to meet everyone else's expectations. The damage here is really deep and internal. You can build this whole life that looks absolutely perfect from the outside, but feel totally empty and exhausted on the inside. Why? Because every ounce of your energy is spent trying to earn approval, and there's just no room left to even figure out what you want. You're living life from the outside in, when the goal of the centered adult is to live from the inside out, guided by your own compass. Now, if the pleaser's strategy is to conform, the rebel's is to resist. But they're two sides of the same coin, both born in childhood. The rebel is formed when there was way too much pressure or control, so their whole identity gets built not around what they believe in, but in opposition to someone else. The source material has such a powerful metaphor for this. The rebel isn't actually moving toward their own goal, their own sun. Nope, they're constantly looking over their shoulder, fighting a shadow from their past. Everything they do is defined by what they're against, not what they're for. And this just leads to a life where all your energy is wasted on conflict instead of being used to consciously create something. Rebels might blow up jobs or end good relationships just because they feel the slightest bit of pressure. They burn so much energy fighting these battles, while the centered adult uses that same energy to build the life they actually want. And finally, we have the rescuer. This is the person who only feels valuable when they're solving other people's problems. They take on everyone's responsibilities, they manage everyone else's feelings, they live everyone else's life except their own. The rescuer is always busy, always putting out fires, but they're not actually moving forward on their own path. And the cost is huge. We're talking chronic stress, total burnout, and that really tragic feeling of waking up one day and realizing you've been a great supporting character in everyone else's story, but you forgot to be the hero in your own. The centered adult? They learn to take responsibility for their own journey first. So here's the thing. All 5 of these patterns, victim, invisible, pleaser, rebel, and rescuer, they're just different masks for the same core issue. They're old survival programs. Your brain isn't trying to hurt you. It built these things to protect you when you were little and vulnerable. The only problem is, now in your adult life, those exact same programs are holding you prisoner. So, how do we break free, right? That's the big question. Well, the goal isn't to fight these patterns. It's to consciously choose a different way of being, to find what the source material calls the centered adult position. The path to getting centered really has 4 steps. First, recognize the pattern. Just notice it. When it pops up, without any judgment, just say to yourself, oh, there's that pleaser part of me again. Just naming it takes away so much of its power. Second, claim responsibility. This is that direct shift from victim to creator. You're not responsible for what happened in the past, but you are responsible for your thoughts and actions right now. Third, find your center. This is all about learning to trust your own gut instead of always looking outside for validation. Ask yourself, what do I think is right here? Not, what does everyone else want me to do? And finally, step 4, act with clarity. This is the whole ballgame, creating a tiny pause between the trigger and your action. And in that little bit of space, you get to make a conscious choice from your adult self. At the end of the day, this entire journey is about moving from an automatic reaction to a conscious response. That is the path to real, authentic adult power. It's not about being loud or aggressive. It's about having this quiet, solid foundation inside yourself, no matter what life decides to throw at you. So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with this. After hearing about these 5 patterns, which one really hits home for you? Which one holds you back the most? And more importantly, what's one small conscious step you can take literally today to start moving away from that reaction and begin reclaiming your own centered adult power?